My name is John Jennings. I'm a professor of media and cultural studies. I study comics and I make comics. So projects that I'm working on right now is the follow-up to the Black Comics book, which is called Black Comics Returns. It'll be coming out from Lions Forge in February. Also, Blue Hand Mojo, which is my own graphic novel written and illustrated by myself. It's from Rosarium Publishing. We have a book called I Am Alfonso Jones that I did with Stacey Robinson and Tony Medina from Lee and Low Books. Currently, I'm most known for the graphic novel adaptation of Octavia Butler's Kindred with Damian Duffy from Abrams Comic Arts.
Welcome back to New York Comic Con again.
Yes, it's only my second one.
You have a lot of friends here.
Yes, I do.
How many new projects from your friends and your associates that you're really liking right now? Who are you reading right now?
Who am I reading right now? Well, you know, it's funny. It's a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to. Right now, I'm really excited about Victor LaValle's Destroyer. I just met the artist, and his name is escaping me right now, so I'm sorry about that. But Victor LaValle is one of my favorite novelists, but I also consider him a friend as well. But so Destroyer is like a retelling of like Frankenstein, but it also has like a Black Lives Matter kind of bent to it, where it's like the main character, who's like the Frankenstein mad professor, is a black woman, and her son is killed by a cop, and she brings him back to life with nanites. So I love this story. It's only 6 parts, but it's called Destroyer. And another project I'm looking forward to a lot is David F. Walker and Sanford Green and Chuck Brown's book Bitter Root, which is going to come out from Image soon. And I'm looking forward to a couple of things that I don't know if I can necessarily talk about it, but it's going to be
tell me anything.
No, I don't know if it's been announced yet though. But Jeremy Love is working on a horror story too for Dark Horse. Yeah, he's the gentleman who created Bayou, right? And let's see what else is going on. I'm looking forward to Ashley Wood's work. She's coming back with Millennia War. I think right now she's working on Tomb Raider, and I haven't seen her yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing her. Yeah, and of course Stacey Robinson is the illustrator for I Am Alfonso Jones, and we're really good friends, and I really enjoyed working on that project. So those are some of the things I'm looking forward to. I like Horizon a lot from Brandon Thomas, and I'm hoping to see some more of his writing from Noble through Lion Forge. Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday, I interviewed Mr. N. Stephen Harris, Eric Battle, and Chuck Collins all at once.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And we had a really interesting conversation.
That's cool.
And I currently have, there is an MSAB mixtape print issue out right now. The My Superheroes Are Black issue has Carol Mosley Brown on the cover, and Trill League and Black Girl Gamers.
That's right, I've seen that.
Do you like the cover?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And one of the topics I brought up with them is the interview I had with Trill League, with and the creator of Trill League, and
Anthony
Piper, and he said a few things that I was very taken aback by as an artist, because I know artists and creators are very sensitive, and they're very
well, some of us are.
Some. You're not one of the sensitive artistic types.
I'm sensitive enough, but I also know that, people say things, and you have to have a thick skin when it comes to like being in a profession. And maybe it's coming from like a graphic design background where you get critiqued like constantly, so I don't know. But everybody's sensitive about their stuff, so to speak. But I don't know. I mean,
I feel like you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
Well, one of the things he said, as a creator, as a black creator, he feels like he's not completely accepted by the black creative community in comics. And he feels like, he wants to be accepted because a lot of people that are in the community is people he looked up to as far as his career, but he doesn't feel like people really, embrace him or take his art seriously.
Why did he say that?
That's
Are you asking me? Well, I love his work.
I'm asking you because, I asked him, like, why doesn't he come out to cons and why doesn't he really do a lot of shows? And he said because he feels like the older, more known people in the industry, in the black creative circle, don't really mess with his art like that.
Really?
Yeah, and it was unfortunate to hear someone that has...
I don't know. I'm sorry, continue.
I'm sorry. It was just unfortunate for him to express that, because I've never really heard a black creative really say that about, as an artist, that he's not really accepted in his own community.
Uh-huh.
And I was kind of, taken aback by that. And I'm asking you because you are well known and you are respected. If a student came to you and said something like that, what type of advice would you give to them?
Well, I don't know. I mean, how much I'd have to question like how much of that is like projected onto people too. I mean, I would need to see the receipts, so to speak, on that type of behavior. Definitely in our community, like the Black comics like movement, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of rivalries and infighting sometimes, just because I don't know. I think everybody's trying to quote unquote make it in the big leagues, so instead of focusing on like these independent areas. I don't know, honestly. As far as a student goes, I don't know. That's a really good question. It's hard for me to answer it because I'm like, well, you can't really worry about how people are feeling about the work. You have to just make it, in spite of any kind of adversity. I think Anthony is very talented. I've met him, I think, once or twice. I definitely met him in Chicago, And he actually said that he was really inspired by the first Black comics book, the first one we did in 2010. And I was very humbled by that. I thought that was great. He said he got to making comics again, But he's not in the second one, even though he was in the second one. But he opted not to be in it because he felt like people in the book didn't respect him or something like that. And I was
I guess that's the conversation that's being continued. That he
but I didn't understand that. It's like, well, why would you not want to be in the book because of other people's? I don't think you should care about what people say about you. You have to make the work regardless, And maybe that's what I would tell a student. It's like, well, how is that related to what you're doing, And if people are hating on you, then you gotta be doing something right.
That's very
That's
true.
what I look at it, because I got haters,
You got haters?
In the academy, because other people forget too. It's like, I'm not just a comic book artist, I'm a professor. So I've actually had my own struggles in the academy because of who I was, what I was trying to do, and how I carry myself in the academy. So
is it because, do you have these issues because of what you teach or because of who you are?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
It depends. In my new space, not as much. In older spaces, yes. When I was in a more conservative school, it was definitely because of me being an African-American man, and also because I did not hide that fact or try to become hegemonic in my belief structures, and also because I was trying different things in a very controlled, classical institution. I was the first person in the country probably to teach a class on hip hop and design, as a designer, and so.
Who are some of your favorite hip hop rappers?
Hip hop artists, like rappers?
Yeah, who are you?
Oh my God. Like, okay, hold up. A lot of them's old school. I mean, of course, Nas, currently I'm like a current Lamar. I love like Run the Jewels. I'm a really big Common fan. Lil Brother, Souls of Mischief, people like that,
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you listen to when you're writing?
I don't listen to anything when I'm writing.
Are you a daytime writer or a nighttime writer?
I write better in the morning. I write better in the morning.
Okay.
I tend to work on art more so in the evening into night. But I seem like my thoughts are clearer when I'm writing in the morning for some reason. I can write anytime, but I do feel like the clarity is there in the morning. I tend not to listen to anything if I'm like trying to get my thoughts down. I take a lot of notes when I write too. So for instance, if I get a story idea, I'll put into my notes on my phone, that kind of stuff, and send them to myself a lot. But I will listen to a lot of music while I'm working though. Like if I'm inking something or coloring something. These days I've been listening to a lot of James Blake. I've been listening to like a lot of SZA. I like SZA.
You like SZA?
She's dope. Yeah, I like her a lot. Let's see. What's that cat's name? He's from California. Is it Anderson .Paak? I like Anderson .Paak a lot. Let me see. I like what's her name? She's English, and she's kind of like if Sade and Janelle Monáe would merge together with Maya. What's her name? FKA Twigs.
Oh, okay.
FKA Twigs. That's who she is, though, right? She's like Maya. Remember Maya from the '90s? Sade, because she looks like Sade, and like Janelle Monáe, but sensual.
Yeah.
Like that means sensual. Anyway, his body language is sensual. Who else I've been listening to? There's this cat named, he's a white artist named Vincent McMorris. Is it Alexander Vincent McMorris? I'm jacking the name up, but he has like this kind of like smoothed out, kind of soulful voice. It's like Blue-Eyed Soul. But I'm a big James Blake fan, so I love his stuff a lot. I listen to a lot of old school Prince and David Bowie, a lot. When I really want to rock out, like Soundgarden, you know, or like, Alice in Chains, or what's his name? Or Temple of the Dog too, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So I listen to a lot of different kinds of stuff.
Cool.
If you want to get angry, I'm gonna probably listen to horror. You ever heard horror? Yeah. They're a new like black, like really like kind of almost like super political heavy metal band. I don't know where they're out of, but I like them a lot. Or like Death Grips. I like Death Grips a lot too. So yeah, I have a very varied, you know.
Let me ask you your opinion. What do you think when people say that comics are becoming too much, you know, of a SJW movement?
SJW?
Social justice warrior. Like people use it as a slur. So when I hear that, my first thought is like, well, most of my superheroes that I read are kind of like social justice warriors.
I mean, yeah, if you think about it, Superman was actually, when the first superhero was a social justice warrior. People forget that. You know, that he was like, you know, fighting against crime on the streets. Like he was more of a street level, you know, avenger before he became like super powerful American symbol, right? I think superheroes and comics are like that. They always represent, hopefully, the best in us, right? And why wouldn't they want to fight against like social justice issues? You know, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, why do you think people feel that like that's a hindrance now?
Well, because here's the thing. I think, first of all, any statement that's general like that about comics, I think you're already going down the wrong path. Comics have been dominated by a genre, superheroes, for a very long time, but you can do anything with comics, you know, so it depends on what you're reading, you know. I read like a lot of science fiction, horror, fantasy stuff. I don't really read a lot of superheroes anymore because I've seen a lot of what they can do, you know. Unless it's very like deconstructive, like something like The Watchmen or like The Authority or something like that, you know, I'm not really into. It's too repetitive, I think, you know. So I'm like, well, I don't see that being an issue, you know. I think that people get tired of dealing with social issues because they think of it being like insurmountable. You know, we have a lot of issues going on, and they want to escape into comics, and I think that they don't have a good space for it now. They're like, oh, well, where do I go? You know, if we're dealing with all these social issues, then how am I going to escape from this reality? You know. Well, as black creators, we don't get to escape from our reality. I'm always going to be black, you know. So that's why all of my superheroes are black, for real. Like I don't make any characters that aren't. All of my subjects are black subjects, and that's on purpose. And I read like a lot of, you know, characters from various backgrounds, but as a space of resistance, I make black characters.
Now, into that, how do you feel when you hear other black creators saying that, you know, they don't want to make black characters, they don't want to talk about anything black or Afrocentric related? Because
that's their choice. That's their choice.
Okay.
Because, you know, blackness isn't a monolithic idea, just like whiteness isn't a monolithic idea. Well, the first thing is, you know, those two things don't actually exist anyway, but they're just constructs. But that's a whole nother subject. But, you know, there's no such thing as like a true black expression. So if you don't want to deal with like that particular racialized piece, I'm not going to judge you for that. You can go and make, you know, whatever you want to make. But me, I deal with black subject matter because I see too many issues going on that I want to deal with. That's one of the reasons why I don't do like a lot of stuff for kids, because the ideas that I'm making work about are very, very hard hitting and very in your face, and they're destroying us little by little. So, you know, I'm not going to judge you if you don't want to do that. That's totally fine.
Even as a professor, you don't think that you could make anything for children?
I mean, I will probably, you know. I teach adults, you know, and I maybe so. I have a couple of things, but that I think could be more for kids. But I'm really like disenchanted with what's going on in the world. So most of my stuff is very dark, it's very satirical, and a lot of it's probably over kids' heads, you know, some with some adults' heads, you know. So like, but I want to use the medium to push back against the things that I feel are destroying us as a country and as people, you know, and that's what I'm very serious about. I do critical making. You know, I make things about the critical issues that are happening, and I talk about them. So, for instance, even by creating like a space like the Schomburg, right? The Schomburg, to me, is actually resituating the black subject. You know, any kid that comes there never has to know what it's like to not see themselves as being positive or being subject. Because to not see each other, to not see someone that's positive like that really is a very detrimental feeling, and it can cause a lot of issues down the road. So.
The Schomburg is so inspiring. Like, it makes me want to do one in Chicago. I'm serious.
Are you based? That's right. You are based in Chicago.
Well, no, I live in New York now, but I'm from Chicago.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you know, the first one was in Chicago. You realize that, right?
We are definitely working on like an MSAB con for Chicago.
Well, there's there's Pocket Con is there. You know Pocket Con?
No, I never heard of
Yeah,
that.
People of Color Con. Yeah, it's been around for a while. It's Stanford Carpenter and
When is
Elgin.
it?
It's in December.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I got to do a poster for it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Please send us.
Can we edit that? Yeah, but no, seriously, it's coming up in December. They've been doing it for a while, and it's at it's down. It's at I think is it Hyde Park Art Center? Oh no. I'll ask Elgin. Reach out to Elgin Bakari
Okay.
and Stanford Carpenter. They'll give you info about it.
Well, we're definitely like planning like a Black creative space in Chicago.
Yeah.
For 2019.
You have to. I think you have to.
The Schomburg.
Yes.
I love the Schomburg.
Thank you. I do too.
When I first moved here to New York, that was the first place I went to, was the Schomburg. I went there and I loved it. And then when I found out about your event, I was like, oh, where has this been all my life?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're going into our 6th year, and we already started planning it. And but we do one on the West Coast too, called the Black Comic Arts Festival.
Right.
That's also gaining traction. We're bringing like close to 3,000 people now, and yeah, it's going to be awesome this year too. And then we do a Black and Latino convention in Columbus, Ohio, called SoulCon. That's part of the CXC event that they do there at Ohio State. So.
Who are some of your favorite Black superheroes?
Favorite Blacks? Okay, I really like Mr. Terrific. I like Mr. Terrific because he utilizes his mind as a weapon to. I mean, he's definitely like a superhero physically, but the fact that he's like a brilliant scholar, he has like what, about 13, 14 PhDs. I love that. Also, the fact that it's kind of playing off the idea of the Invisible Man. You know, because the nanotechnology he uses makes him invisible to all surveillance technology, and that's really interesting to me. I really like, what's her name? The Crimson Avenger. Yeah, the second version of Crimson Avenger, because she's an Avenger. But the idea of like her being constantly wounded is really interesting to me. It's like, I think it's tripped out that like her black body is constantly in pain and she's constantly wounded, and that her guns never run out of ammunition, and that she's kind of like an avenging spirit. I really like that recalibration of her, you know. I like Cyborg. Actually, I like David Walker and John Semper's versions of Cyborg, you know, because they're playing around with his humanity a lot, you know. Nighthawk, I thought, by David Walker was also a dope.
I love Nighthawk.
Nighthawk was awesome.
Watching him kick butt in Yeezys is like
in Chicago.
In Chicago is the best thing ever. I actually sent him a message and told him I appreciate the research he did into it by naming a lot of them with last names like Pulaski. Like those are legit Chicago.
Yeah, because he does his research like that. We were just talking about that last night. I had dinner with him last night.
Yeah.
Let me see. Also, you know,
who's your favorite Black villain?
Well, hold on. But here's the thing. I want to add Monica Rambeau. Yes. Because I love Monica Rambeau. She's a great
She doesn't get a lot of love.
She's she's you know what? Because she's so powerful, they didn't even know what to do with her. And of course, Black Panther, right? I like Black Panther a lot too.
Okay.
And the Falcon. Okay. All right. So what were you saying? What was the next question?
Who's
Black
your
villain.
favorite Black villain? I asked Posters. I asked Eric Battle this, and it was kind of like a tough question for them to answer.
It's a tough question because there's not enough good villains, because blackness is already villainized, right? That's one thing. I think my favorite Black villain is probably Black Manta, just because of his like kind of nationalist background. It's really interesting. What is it? Moses Magnum I like a lot too.
That's what cool. Stephen Harris said.
Yeah, I like Moses Magnum. I don't know if Amanda Waller counts as a villain, but she's kind of an anti-hero. I like Amanda Waller a lot. Because she uses like her power to manipulate people to do things that she wants to do. Like, it's really slick. What's the character, the Flash character? She's fun too. Is it Blink? No, she can teleport. I forgot her name. Never mind. I forgot her name.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a Flash villain.
I want to talk about your art. Coming from a fine art background, we kind of had this conversation about art and how you're taking fine art into comic art.
Yeah.
What fine artists do you appreciate?
Okay, so that's a long list, but you know,
Top 5.
I'm really inspired by people like Palmer Hayden, who's an African American artist. Um, let's see, Kathy Kollwitz is a really big influence of mine. Egon Schiele, who's a European artist. Otto Dix, who's a German expressionist. I'm looking like people like, let's see, what is his name? Romer Bearden is a big influence as well. Franz Masriel, who's there's a lot of printmaking artists that I really look up to. Peter Cooper isn't a fine artist, but he does like a lot of fine art, oriented stuff. Let's see, Faith Ringgold is actually, I'm really a big fan of her work.
Is it fair to say that the Harlem Renaissance movement is your favorite art movement?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm really into because a lot of my favorite art, like for instance, like what's his name, Richmond Barthé I like his work a lot. And also, what is her name? She did the Sharecropper piece. I'm totally spacing on it right now.
What is it?
The Sharecropper. It's a really famous. It's a woodcut piece that she did, and I can't think of her name right now. It's terrible. Lois Mailou Jones also is I'm a big fan of her work as well. Let's see, Lynn Ward as well. I mean, it goes on and on, but most like people who do like printmaking work, I'm really into.
That's really interesting because printmaking is like really detailed.
Yes, and so you look and see the work that I do. It's like my hand. One of my teachers was a printmaker, so I work like that. People like Amos Paul Kennedy, for instance, who's a printmaker. I love his work too. But also really theoretical folk like Carol Walker. I'm a big Carol Walker fan.
Me too.
And also, let's see, Hank Willis Thomas. Yeah, people like that.
What are the 3 things as a comic book artist that you think you have to have under your grasp, like you need to know how to do as a comic book artist?
You have to be a really good storyteller.
Okay.
I think storytelling, and I don't think it really matters that it matters to be able to render things, but being a great storyteller is actually that's really important. How do you tell a visual story, right? Having a sense of style, and actually like having that style fit what you're doing, and honestly having perseverance. I mean, I know that's a skill set you definitely have to have. You have to have a thick skin and keep moving, and actually realize that it's a very physically taxing, difficult space to work in, So yeah, that's actually something that you have to, the chutzpah to keep going, because it's easy to stop. Stopping is easy. Yeah.
What would you tell someone who wants to be a comic book writer and an artist?
Go for it. Definitely. You should definitely go for it. I mean, I do both, and that there's in fact, most of the time, if you're a decent writer and you're a comic book artist, that's a strength. Strength in the writing. The other thing is like read everything. Don't just read comics. Read history and current affairs, women and gender studies, anything that you can get your hands on that can make you a better writer, because when you're writing, you want to make it authentic, not just made up. Even though you are making it up, but it has to feel authentic in a space where you understand the subject matter. So do your research.
What are some things as an artist that you have to overcome?
Oh man, never compare yourself to others. Don't do it.
Did you do it before?
Yes, and it stopped me from drawing. Because what I was doing was like, I would see stuff that was coming out of DC Comics and Marvel, and I'm like, you know what? My stuff doesn't look like that. Thinking that was a weakness. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. My work doesn't. When you see my work, you know it's me. You know that it's my work, and you know that it's coming from a space of passion, right? Don't stop doing what you're doing. I think, when I really gave up. If you really want to be unhappy, just say, oh man, well, my stuff doesn't look like Brian Stelfreeze's work. Well, that's good. You don't want to look like someone else's work. In this particular business, you want it to look like your stuff. Just believe in yourself and keep working, get better at your craft, and keep pushing,
Is there any subject that you would not explore when it comes to talking about anything concerning or around blackness? Is there like one topic you don't want to explore at all that might be too sensitive for you, or even what you think the reader might want to read?
I don't know, because when we did the whole is pretty explicit and crazy, and it talks about the black body being bought and sold through like media. I mean, it's like, have you seen that book? Our first graphic novel, the main character has actually a mouth in his stomach that eats reality and all kinds of wild stuff, and he's kind of a transgender character, and there's it talks about sexuality as a metaphor for like how the black body is consumed. I mean, it's pretty wild. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it depends on what it is, I guess. But I'm pretty I'm pretty aware that if I want to deal with a particular subject matter, that either I have to do it myself or find the right publisher for it. But yeah.
How do you create a universe? And what's the process for you? Like, how long does it take you to come up with a universe in your head before it can come down to paper?
That's a good question. When I was at Harvard, my main project was for a semester was a transmedia story space called the Cyber Trap. So it's like looking at like old school trap music mixed with like cyberpunk and a dystopian South. Yeah, that's my project. A world building piece. I did it in a few months. As far as like a really detailed, textured universe. Maybe like 2 or 3 months, something like that. Maybe even less. Depends on who you're collaborating with.
Okay.
But it has to be mired in like reality. It has to make sense. And you have to look at every aspect of it. How do they communicate to each other? How does technology affect them? What kind of sex they having? What kind of language are they speaking? That kind of stuff. You need to know everything about the world. That's what Tolkien did. Yeah.
Since we're here, what new comic book writers and artists are you looking forward to as far as just watching their careers?
Let me see. That's a good question. I just came across this brother named Solomon Williamson. I cannot wait to work with him. This brother's 30 years old, and he's out of Columbus, Ohio, and I think he's a cool artist, and I'm looking forward to working with him. Anthony Pugh, even though Anthony Pugh's in his, I think he might be early 40s. He looked like a baby, but he's actually like a 40-year-old. He's Black Don't Crack. But yeah, I love his work. I'm looking forward to his new project. It's called Kid Buster. Steens from Lion Forge. She's got a comic book coming out from Oni Press. Stuff looks really cool. Who else? There's got to be somebody else I'm looking forward to. Soul Rebel, Dulcia Gonzalez. She's doing some really interesting things. As far as her work goes, I'm looking forward to that too. There's a bunch of them. And a lot of them are in my Black Comics Returns book, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when is the next one coming out?
Should be on the ground February.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually, honestly, we should be uploading it to the printer like Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks great. You can be really excited about it. Yeah. I'm not gonna be disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other projects you want us to let us know what you're doing and what we should look forward to?
Let's see. Right now,
We have a signing tonight, right?
Yes, we have a signing this evening at the Langston Hughes House in Harlem. It's at 6:30. It's for the book that Tony Medina wrote and Stacey Robinson penciled it, and I did inks and finishes on. And it's called I'm Alfonso Jones. It's a Black Lives Matter ghost story. It's about a Black and Puerto Rican kid who gets murdered by a cop, and his ghost is actually on this kind of ghost train with all his ancestors who also have died at the hands of police brutality. And it's a really kind of open narrative about these types of issues, Yes, I'm looking. So that's coming out. I have a book out called Blue Hand Mojo. That's kind of like a
that's
hoodoo.
What you showed us, right?
Yeah, exactly what I showed you. It's kind of like a hoodoo detective story. It's the main character is a fictitious cousin of of Robert Johnson. Of course, Black Comics Returns is coming out. The Kindred book has been out since January. And listen, I think I'm missing. Oh, Box of Bones. Box of Bones is a 10-part mega series from Rosarium Publishing. I work with 8 different artists. The first chapter is we're going to put it out digitally first, and we're going to collect it until a 5-issue trade paperback next summer. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's Afrocentric Hellraiser.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. So